We were in Baku, Azerbaijan, fighting for real climate action. This year, we got access to COP29, the world's biggest climate conference, where world leaders gather to decide how to tackle the climate crisis. Getting to Baku wasn't an easy trip. It's a beautiful city, very well known for its landscape, its history, but also for its oil reserves. For 2 weeks, it became the center of global attention, with over 50,000 people attending COP29. The country put on an impressive show, with new electric Chinese cars and new venues.
See the towers.
Everyone was really positively impacted by the beauty of Baku, the warmth of the Azeri people. But at the same time, there was also a bit of discontent in the air over the country's history of human rights violations. This shadow loomed over the conference, reminding us of the broader justice issue tied to the climate crisis. Of course, the fact that Azerbaijan is one of the top exporters of oil in the world raised some questions. Is this COP only for appearance while oil extraction continues? Or is this a commitment towards real change? But okay, let's take a step back and let's try to understand what is COP in general. To answer that, I spoke with Giulia, one of the many youth activists.
Yeah, good question.
There to make our voices heard.
So what is COP really is a big conference that has diplomatic, economic, social and political implications. It's really a forum for multilateral cooperation, or at least discussion, because cooperation is, an outcome that you hope to find, but it's not always the case. And these stakeholders that are present here are not just politicians, they're not just heads of states or youth or whatnot. As I said, they're companies, there are global compacts, like science groups. There are so many people here, but you have to get them together to get them talking, because the climate sphere is very siloed, and this is a way of doing that. If you're trying to facilitate a global conversation, you have to get all these people together in one room, right? If the conversation happens or not, that is something different. But the fact that people bump into each other in the corridors, and the fact that official party delegations are sitting in the same room, the plenary that is not here, but in the other section of the COP, and are discussing their frictions or their agreement points, that is already an improvement. And here you have more the heads of states, the heads of delegations, the people that have political influential power to actually shift the final outcome.
Wait, so here Giulia is speaking about the main outcome of COP, which is in fact just a document. But this document is so important because it's a set of rules that countries need to carry on climate actions. These rules then hold governments accountable, so we can check on how countries are doing compared to this rule.
That then really affects all people in the world. And this is why it's so important, because you have to be present to have a voice. And this is why we try to have indigenous people represented, youth represented, not just nations. Because it's not just nations that are getting affected by climate change, obviously.
Right.
As the Youth Forum, we have some youth delegates there, making sure that young voices are accounted in the final outcome of COP.
Here we go, second day. Just walking the COP.
To do so, we organized protests, we coordinated with other activists, and we met with government representatives to push for the actions that we believe are the most effective. especially considering the future generations.
Most of the time it's in meetings.
Yeah. Where do we go?
But okay, after 29 editions of COP, there's a lot of people asking, is COP still relevant? Let's hear it from another youth activist, Rubin.
COP as a process has been around for a long time. And it's understandable, I think, that many people get increasingly frustrated with the format. I mean, this is COP29, right? We started very early on and are questioning, well, why is it important that countries and people still gather around here? The most crucial element of COP as a concept is that this is the one space where all countries get together, which gives us the opportunity to discuss the needs of the whole global community. It might not solve climate change tomorrow, but it is a format that allows us to work together and to find a solution that works for everyone and not overlook the issues and problems that very specific groups of countries might have. Young people have a lot at stake when it comes to climate change because it is the future of young people, it is the future of children and of yet to be born future generations that we're debating here at COP29. And it's not about, the economic gains in the next 5 years, but it's about the livability of this planet for hundreds of years to come. And this is what is really at stake. We have to ensure that this planet and we as humanity can continue to thrive in this environment, and for that we need to do something about climate change. And we as young people, I think, have a very special role here because we bring a different perspective to the table, and I might still be able to influence politicians directly, while a lot of the children in our organizations have no political voice yet, which makes it even more important that they're at least indirectly represented and that politicians take their time to listen to the people that might not vote yet, but are still most affected by the problems we're facing today.
COP is one of the few spaces where every country in the world comes together to listen to each other, to listen to different perspectives, to take them all into account, and to try to agree on global rules for a greater good. So it's not perfect, but it's a way to hold leaders accountable and push for a better future for us and our planet.
I wouldn't be here if it didn't matter, because if we don't meet, if we don't keep talking about these topics, then what's the point of living in this world if we know that climate change is real and affecting people? So yeah, it is relevant, obviously. You can criticize the mechanism and transparency of processes and how people actually benefit from the outcomes of these, high-level conversations, like do the people on the ground actually get benefits from this? That you can criticize, but is it important to be here? Yeah, it is. It still is. So let's do some activism.
Yes.
And that's why it's still relevant to come together here every single year, to keep debating, to keep pushing, and to really try to advance the global agenda on climate change. And then hopefully we'll get where we need to go just in time.
So we were not there just for ourselves, but for the future generations, for those who cannot vote yet, who cannot attend this type of conferences yet, but they will live with the consequences of today's decisions. COP29 reminded us that the fight for climate justice is not over. We need to keep pushing, keep protesting, and make sure that leaders walk the talk.